everybody, and welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So, today I have an interesting video for you. I'm going to go over my YA thriller, mystery, horror, suspense book recommendations. So basically, if I don't like the YA thriller, horror, whatever that I pick, I usually just straight unhaul it. So, the fact that I'm literally going to go through my entire shelf. So it's almost like a shelf spotlight, if you will. Because I literally just pulled off all my YA, thriller, mystery, horror books that I own. So let's just get started. So the top one, my pile is huge, it's gonna crash on me, is They Wish They Were Us by Jessica Goodman. She just actually recently came out with another book. It looks similar to this, but it's got a sneaker on it. This is in high school. We're following a girl, and her best friend died years ago, and now they're going to their senior year. And at the time, the boyfriend basically was accused of the crime, and now she's starting to think that there might have been something more sinister at work and that she needs to figure out what happened. There's also this A-list group of people, they're in this elite club. It's a whole fancy thing. So it's one of those things that I love. You're gonna notice a lot of my YA thrillers are these juicy, weird, high school, clicky, type stories. But I like them a lot. So there's this one. Try to put them on the ground. As I said, there's a lot of them. The next one was Time Bomb by Joelle Charbonneau. So I would almost call this one more kind of a suspenseful read. So it wasn't necessarily a thriller read, but we're in a school as we find out that there's a bomb that's about to go off in the school. So there's 6 students in the school, and time is literally running out for them to get out. So like I said, not necessarily a thriller, but it was just one of those really fast-paced, suspenseful books where you were trying to figure out why is this bomb here? Are they going to be able to get out? Why is this bomb targeting these 6 people? I really liked this one. This one is a complete kind of random by I read the testing by her, the whole trilogy, and it was good, but for some reason I was picked this one up without really knowing a whole ton about it, and it was really good, and it really has stuck with me as a book that I would potentially reread. Then we've got Made for You by Melissa Marr. I've never read any other books by her, and this is another one that I think about all the time as kind of want to reread this one. So we're following a girl named Eva, and she wakes up in the hospital, and she finds out that somebody hit her with a car, and she doesn't know why someone's hit her. So she's trying to figure out why someone is after her. And then there's a whole slew of murders going around in her town. So again, who did it? I don't know, but I don't even remember. It says one wants to kiss her, the other wants to kill her. Again, another one that I always see on my shelf, and I'm always I kind of want to reread you. This cover is gorgeous and creepy and eerie, and I just remember reading this one and just really, really enjoying this one. Then we've got Lies You Never Told Me by Jennifer Donaldson. I think I even got this one at my local library or something. I remember just getting this one on a complete whim. Sarah Shepard, who wrote Pretty Little Liars, quoted at the top. We're following 5 characters. It says, or 4 characters. It says, Elise, the more secrets she keeps, the more lies she tells. Gabe, he's haunted by rumors he can't control. Catherine, a fresh start means no more mistakes. And Sasha, she will do anything to get Gabe back. They all have something to hide, and when the truth comes out, their lives will burn. And I remember being completely shell-shocked at the end. I believe that even they're doing a high school production of Romeo and Juliet, and I just remember being, I said, I remember the ending happening and being so taken back, and YA thrillers can be so predictable, and this one wasn't for me. So I ended up giving this one 5 stars. I think that I'm also one of the only people who has given it 5 stars, but I just remember just reading it and just I could not get enough of it, and I had to give it 5 stars. Then let's see what's next. Tiny Pretty Things, which is actually a duology, and I don't know, this one's more revenge-ish stuff going on. It's about like this elite ballet school, and we're following a bunch of like different characters, and they're all kind of like competing. We follow 2 seasons in this one. It's actually a Netflix show right now, actually, and they're trying to compete to like obviously be the best of the best and to get the best parts in these shows. And obviously there's backstabbing and drama, so it's like contemporary, but there's also like murder. So I really enjoy this one. I love anything with like ballerinas too, so that really worked out for me. This one's one of my favorites. So this is like such a weird one because I feel like you look up reviews and it's got like all these like 3-star reads and like, but for some reason, for somebody who like really doesn't love like horror books, I am obsessed with this series. It's technically a duology. The first book is definitely better than the second book, but we are following these characters and they are like really into this like cult director guy, right? So they like apply for this thing and then he like makes these movies and they get invited to this like weekend where they get to like possibly like meet him and stuff, and they go there and like things are weird and people are getting put to the test through their fears, and it feels like they're being part of a movie, and like you have to fulfill these like stunts to like be able to possibly like get out, but like chances of you getting out are like this little. So like I remember just like loving this book. I've actually read this book twice and I don't reread often, but like I like look at this I just remember, like, I don't love books like I would never watch this as a movie. Like, if this was a movie, I would run the other way. But for some reason, as a book, I was obsessed with it. So, it's one of those weird ones that I just can't get enough of. This one's also a movie. Actually, that was not a movie. I just said I would not watch it if it was a movie. This one was a movie, and I watched it. This is Nerve by Jane Ryan. And this is about a girl who ends up in this, like, virtual, like, truth or dare situation, and like the more dares you do, like you could get money, and like people are following you and like they're watching you on social media do these dares, and the dares only get more intense as you go and dangerous as you go. I remember being so gripped. Like I think we had just moved into our apartment back in the day. And I just remember, like, I picked this up and I, like, could not put it down because it was just so suspenseful and I needed to know what was going to happen next. So, I really liked this one. Obviously, I really liked all of these. These are all also why I'm doing this video will be perfect for October. So, hopefully you'll find some suggestions because, like I said, I know that YA could be kind of, like, hit or miss with this genre. The next one is Ace of Spades by Farida. I'm always going to butcher that, so I'm just going to show you. We're following these 2 characters, and they go to this elite school. They are, unfortunately, the only black students in this building. They're going to their senior year. They're expecting it to be, like, a great year, and all of a sudden, their secrets are just being revealed through text messages. Someone's clearly out to get them. It's like a Gossip Girl meets like Get Out, and it gets to be really crazy and intense by the end. The pacing was a little slow in the beginning, but like by the end it just really picked up, and you really wanted to know like why are people targeting them? What is going on? Why are their secrets being revealed? And it was just really good. We've got Daughter of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan. I'm just going to read the back because the back is like, I'm the daughter of murdered parents. I'm the friend of a dead girl. I am the lover of my enemy, and I will have my revenge. So she finds out, like, her family was murdered, and she, like, finds out, like, so, like, her family was, like, on this yacht, and it, like, goes down, and basically her and, like, 2 other people are, like, the only survivors, and so she is out for revenge. And I just remember being really in love with this book. This is another one that I feel like if I had time, I would reread. And, like, look at this cover. So pretty. We've got With Malice by Eileen Cook. This one's not... Out of all of them, this is probably, like, one of my least favorites on here, but I have always been willing to keep it, so I feel like it should still make this list. And this girl is in Italy, I think, or Greece, studying abroad. And yeah, she's in Italy doing like a school trip, and she like wakes up in the hospital, and I think her friend is now murdered, and they're trying to figure out like what happened. Again, it's probably like my least favorite out of the bunch, but I love books that take place in like Italy and other like abroad locations, so I think that's why it's always held like slightly a special place in my heart. And it kind of almost reminds me of like the Amanda Knox story, so like there's that one. Then we've got This Is Our Story by Ashley Elston, and this is about it's almost like, you can almost count this as like The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, but like the YA edition. So this is about like a bunch of boys, they go hunting, 5 go in, 4 come out. Who murdered the 5th guy? It was interesting. It was interesting. So, like I said, like The Hunting Party, except like not The Hunting Party, like the YA version. Then we've got 10 by Gretchen McNeil. This is like one of my like super guilty pleasure reads. I think I've read this one 3 or 4 times. Like, I'm like weird about this one. So this one is basically an Agatha Christie and Then There Were None retelling, except if they were teenagers. So these teenagers go to this island. It's like President's Day weekend, which is funny. The very first time I read it was on a President's Day weekend. So it was weird. So they go to this island, and then there's like a mysterious tape that shows up on the TV, which is like very similar to And Then There Were None, because in Then There Were None there's like a record player that plays, and then one by one they start dying, and who's killing them we don't know. And I just, again, I know it's probably got a lot of cheese factor, but for some reason I am obsessed. It was funny because there's actually a movie version of this now. It's not the best, but like I was so excited because I have such a soft spot for this book that I made Patrick watch it. It was kind of a mess, but like I just love this book so much. Then we've got, oh, where'd it go? To go with that same author, just because I just talked about her, we've also got Get Even, which I find so interesting. This one is a duology by her. You're actually going to see Gretchen McNeil again. I think she's on here. Yeah, she's actually here 3 times. She really writes a lot of my favorite, like, YA, mystery, thriller, suspense books. So we've got Get Even, and this is following 4 girls. They're not typical friends, but for some reason they get together and they kind of create this, like, club where they want to get, like, revenge about certain people. And they kind of almost, like, plan this, like, ultimate revenge about this person. And then that person ends up dead almost in the exact same way that they picked. And, like, when they do their revenge, they, like, leave, like, a calling card almost. And that calling card gets left behind. But the only thing is, they didn't do it. So now they're like, who knows about us? And who's targeting us? And who really did this murder? Duology, super fun, really engaging. I think this is also a Netflix show. I should check that out. Like I said, Gretchen McNeil's on here 3 times, so let's just get her over with. We've got #Murder Trending by Gretchen McNeil. There's this book, there's a sequel, and then just recently a prequel came out, and I have enjoyed all of them. I think this one's my favorite, then the prequel, and then the sequel, which is weird. But this is following this, like, Alcatraz type of situation where people, basically, like, teenagers who, like, have broken the law get sent there, and, like, people, like, on social media, like, follow them while they're there, and then eventually, like, there's, like, these, like, murderers, but they're, like, thematic murderers, and they, like, will eventually, like, kill you in very thematic ways, and people are, like, watching and commenting, and you can see the forums that people are commenting on, and it's insane. And I really liked it. So this one had to make the list as well. Then one of my, like, again, I think when I think of, like, my OG favorites, like the ones that have been my favorites the longest, it goes to 10, and it goes to this book. And this one is Dangerous Girls by Abigail Hawes. I remember when I first read this one, I used to talk about it all the time on my channel. Always, 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 because I was so obsessed with it. And we're following this group of people who are in high school, and they, like, go away. They're on this, like, trip, and one of the girls ends up being murdered, and they're looking at the friends, and they're looking at our main character as, like, did you do it? And there's like interview transcripts, there's text messages. Like, again, it's one of those ones that's like so cheesy, but I love it. I love it. I didn't necessarily love Dangerous Boys. Dangerous Boys had nothing to do with this book, so I don't really know why they named it like similarly. So I didn't love that one as much, but this one just, it holds a weird place in my heart, and I just love it. I've also reread this one, and for me, I don't really reread books, so it's like funny to me that like not only have I reread some of these, but like these are also thrillers where you typically know how it ends, but like why am I rereading it? I don't know, but I've reread this one as well. Then, some newer ones. I think these are all newish ones. This one's The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The sequel just came out. I'm actually currently reading it. This one's kind of like a Knives Out situation where we are following our main character and her mother has passed away. She's basically just trying to survive until she can graduate high school. And suddenly she gets summoned by this letter and she finds out that she's actually inherited all this money, this entire property from this man who she doesn't like really even like know. But the problem is the family is still there. And I think it's like a rule of like she's got to live there for a year or something. But she can't kick the rest of the family out. And then it turns into like this guy really likes games. So she's got to solve all these different like puzzles and games to try to figure out like, why did this guy leave me this inheritance? Why didn't he leave it to his family? What's going on? What's the connection? And I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm really excited to continue reading The Hawthorne Legacy, and I believe that there's a third book that's also coming out. Then we've got One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is actually going to be a show on Peacock soon. This one's out, the sequel's out, and it's been rumored that there's going to be a third book, but I think it doesn't come out until like either 2023 or like it doesn't come out for a very, very long time. But this is it's like almost like a Breakfast Club situation where we're following a bunch of characters who go to detention with each other one day and one of them dies. And then obviously eyes turn on the other detention members, and I really liked this one. I know that some people have found it a little problematic, but for some reason, I just really enjoyed it. I liked the sequel, but I think I liked this one a bit more. I've read her other book. I don't remember what it's called. And I wasn't a huge fan. I've since gotten rid of it. I still have The Cousins that I want to read. So I do like her as an author. I just can't remember what the other one was called, but it was like Two Can Tell a Lie or something like that. And I got rid of that one. But this one is a standout for me. And then this one is kind of like a sci-fi, like thrillery, suspenseful book. And that is The Thousandth Floor by Katharine McGee. I talk about this series all the time and I feel like nobody else talks about it. It's like a Gossip Girl meets mystery thriller as well, where in this world there's this like 1,000-floor building, and depending on where you live in the building, it's kind of like your class. So, like, obviously, the lower you live, the lower you are, the higher you are in society. And there is a, like, kind of, like, murder that happens, and we're trying to figure out kind of, like, who did it, what happened, what caused it, and it's a trilogy, and I really enjoyed this trilogy. I feel like people don't talk about it enough, and I really liked this one. The last one that I'm going to talk about today is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and I have since read Good Girl, Bad Blood. The third book comes out later this month, which I already have pre-ordered. And in this one, we're following Pip, and years ago at her high school, this girl was murdered, and her boyfriend killed himself, and basically they think that he was the murderer and that this like case is open and solved. But Pip doesn't really believe that, so for her senior project, she really wants to look more into this murder and figure out what happened and what caused it, and she kind of ends up teaming up with the brother who was the like original like suspect. She like makes friends with like that guy's brother, and they work together to try to solve this mystery. Again, this one's another one that kind of has that mixed media in it where we sometimes see text messages and like excerpts from things, which basically if you have that in a mystery thriller YA book, I am like sold. So I really enjoyed it. I liked this one, again, a little bit better than the sequel, but that's okay. And I'm really excited for the third book to come out. So those are all my YA thriller, mystery, horror recommendations / view at my shelf. I don't know if I've missed a couple. I find it so hard because I feel like books can be so, like, multi-genre that, like, sometimes I feel like I might be missing one, but these are all the ones that I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye, everybody.